Good evening, and welcome to the High Performance Show with me, Kamir Arjun, where we showcase ordinary South Africans under 30 living extraordinary lives. Today's special guest is Dr. Sahil Maharaj, a man of immense focus and discipline. Dr. Sahil Maharaj graduated from Westfield Boys High School in Matric in 2015, where he was placed fifth in KZN for Matric results with a 94.8% average. From there, he went on to UKZN's medical campus, where he graduated with his medical degree cum laude. And during this time, he wasn't just a one-dimensional student. No, he was able to serve as secretary of the South African Medical Students Association in 2017, as well as leading the medical campus as president of the Golden Key Medical School in 2019. Further to this, Sahil was the South African representative on the International Council of Student Leaders from the Golden Key branch during the 2020 year. If this is not impressive, Sahil has also taken to mastering Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and is currently a graded white belt fourth stripe in the gentle art of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Dr. Sahil Maharaj, welcome and thank you for being part of our show.
Great. Thank you so much, Kamir, for that fantastic introduction. And it's really a pleasure to be here with you, and such a great honor as well, as one of your close friends. So I just want to thank you very much.
Thank you. No, I really appreciate your time, and it's just awesome to have a man of your caliber on the show to hear your story, And on that note, I'd just like to know, please just give us some insight into how your journey towards being a high performer start. When did this vision to go into the medical practice and start achieving these awesome things start? Where did it all begin? Please share with us.
Oh, great. Thanks, Kamir. So ironically, I've never considered myself a high performer or someone who has been, strive towards a certain goal. I've always just worked hard.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Thank you for giving me that very high accolade. But I started at Apple Heights High School with you. I wasn't particularly strong in school. I'm sure you can remember. I just used to worry day to day about what my lunch was going to be, what I was going to do on the weekend, and things like that.
Yes.
But I'd say that my academic journey really started in grade 10. I realized at that point in time that I wanted to follow my parents into medicine. As my dad is a medical doctor in Umlazi, and my mom was an optometrist as well.
Right.
So it was at that point, watching them interact with patients in the Umlazi community, seeing the impact that they had on patient lives, and the amount of respect that the community had for both of them. That was the reason that I actually wanted to follow them. And so in grade 10, I realized that my marks, weren't high enough to get into medical school. And I realized that I needed to pick my socks up or, risk the chance of not achieving my dreams. So I decided to start studying a bit harder, improve my knowledge gathering abilities, started surrounding myself with, more influential role models. And I started trying to enrich my quality of life. And so that saw me improve my marks through to grade 11, and eventually in grade 12, when it was time to crunch the final exams. I just had my goal was to come out first in the country. And I did whatever I could, So I used to go for tuition. I used to do as many past papers as I could. And lo and behold, instead of attaining first in the country, I managed to shoot for the stars, and I came out first in the province. And so that guaranteed me a spot at every medical school in the country. And I chose to go to UKZN. And many people have asked me, why UKZN, why not UCT, etc. And the thing is, I wanted to follow tradition. My dad had went to UKZN, and seeing the fantastic position that he is, I knew that by going to UKZN, I'd be assured of nothing less. And so that's how I got into med school.
And you didn't just get in there, you flourished. You really took up every opportunity that the university had to provide for you, and you just found ways to give back in so many different manners. I mean, we've listed your achievements. You started off as a research assistant, and then you went into that Medical Students Association. Please just give us a bit of background into your experiences there, because I think when I look at it, in 2017, you were in the you were the secretary of the South African Medical Students Association. And then 2 years later, you went on to become the South African representative on the International Council for Golden Key student leaders. So just talk us through that journey and how being in these various positions have shaped your worldview.
So once I got into medical school, I realized that through just being a doctor, you are touching one patient's life at a time. And as a doctor, you're only seeing patients or dealing with individuals once they're already at the point in their lives when they are sick. And that, yes, that's great, but it doesn't really solve the upstream problems that's leading to them coming to your office. So I realized very early on in medical school that the way to change the world, or to have a meaningful impact on the world, is through advocacy and through advocating for your patients' rights. So I realized that if I wanted to do anything that was worth my time, the way to go would be to actually get involved in leadership positions and interact with other individuals from different fields, so that we could collaborate and work together to find a solution that would benefit not just the patient when you're seeing them at that one point in your office, but that's going to have a meaningful impact on their lifestyles, And my belief is that when you marry medicine and politics, that's when you are able to effect meaningful change. And so that's why I decided to get involved with the South African Medical Students Association, especially with Golden Key. I mean, Golden Key is not a medical fraternity. It's basically a group of individuals from the commerce field, from law, and then I brought my perspective from medicine, and we used to work on problems together. And in that case, I was working with individuals from other countries, and we came up with some great solutions, in terms of drafting policies on how different health interventions could be implemented in a first world setting versus the third world setting, which is South Africa. And so that's why I got involved in all those communities. I was also involved with the Friends of the Doctors Without Borders branch at UKZN. And I was also part of the, there was another one, I can't remember what the name was. Maybe we can edit this out.
Wasn't it Caprisa?
Yes, I was with Caprisa as well. So Caprisa was from early on in my career as well, from first year. I was a research assistant working with Dr. Shirana Mohammed, and we did some research on TB and HIV. So sure, as you've seen Professor Abdul Karim on TV, that's his company. And I learned a lot of my research skills through that company. And even to this day, I still carry the knowledge that I learned at that from my time there into the research I do today.
That's absolutely fantastic, because you've taken on a holistic approach, not just to, like you said, to medicine, but to give back into the communities. And you elevated your thinking by aligning yourself with the global best practice and surrounding yourself with people of a similar caliber, wanting to make that impact around the world. I think that's just fantastic. And I think something that would be very fascinating to get into would be your mindset to want to think on that level. And you said that it all started in grade 10. Your journey to where you are now started in grade 10. And I just want to know how you started to process and see the world and think about life at that point, from grade 11 to 12, to increase your results to such a point where you got into medical school. And then from that point, elevating your thinking in medical school to operate on that level. Because anyone who understands what medical school is about knows it's a very rigorous process to get in, right? Plus, the journey and the academic content is so dense in those 6 years. Some people just try to pass each block, try to pass each subject. And here you are, diversifying your interests, following your passions, and representing on a global level. So please, let's unpack this mindset. How did you cultivate this big picture thinking and handling that pressure?
So from a very young age, my parents had instilled the value of education in me. And they'd always taught me that with whatever opportunity that you're given, try to maximize the benefit of that opportunity, because every opportunity has its merits and should never be taken for granted. And like I said, grade 10 was basically where everything started for me. That was when I started becoming more efficient and more pragmatic in my thinking, which was, again, unconsciously. I started doing things that would get me towards my goal and not wasting my time on, other frills and distractions. And I think now at the point that I am at, I've sort of honed in on that ability to clear out the distraction,
Right.
um, because I found that I was wasting a lot of time, doing things that weren't really helping me get to my goal. So the way I see life now is, if it's not getting me anywhere closer towards my goal, or if it's taking away energy from my ambitions, then I try and distance myself from it. It's a bit of a controversial view, but I mean, it's worked for me. It doesn't mean to say that I don't enjoy uh, like the off time that I have, or seek out pleasurable activities. I think I've become, or I try to make sure that everything is running as efficiently as possible in my life, and that includes, I mean, with my friendships as well. I keep my circle of friends small, because the circle of friends that I have are the ones that are getting me to where I need to be, and they are having a positive impact in my life. They're people that I can rely on, who are loyal and who always, have my back. And those are the people that I always try to surround myself with, such as yourself and Sachin and all the other guys.
No, you too kind. No, you flatter me. Thank you. No, that's a really nice compliment. I appreciate that, Neil. I really do. You know, and I really agree with what you said there about trying to find, aligning your daily actions with your goals, because that is something very important. I think in this age where people have information overload and distractions and temptations for so
Mhm.
many different things, to satisfy short-term needs, they sometimes lose track of the bigger picture. And from what I gather, and as is evident in your track record, whatever you do, you always consider the first, second, third, and fourth order consequence of your actions. You look further than just the immediate benefit.
Mhm. No,
And
definitely. And sorry, can you continue?
no, no, you carry on. You carry on. You can build on that. Yes.
No, so like I was saying, based on what you were saying, is that I do tend to, I look at a problem from every angle, and see how it's going to affect me, how's it going to affect my family, how's it going to affect my friends. Is it going to do anything is it getting me closer to where I want to be? And I try to apply that to my daily life, and that includes, with the reason that I engage as well with jujitsu, because it's having a beneficial impact on my life, and also inspired by your karate stints as well. You know.
Yes. Uh, this is,
Yeah.
yeah, no, thank you. That's a very wonderful compliment. I mean, and yeah, no, I agree with you. Just trying to put quality in. I'm a big believer in that. Whatever I do, I must give quality effort,
Mhm.
and I filter sort of the opportunities in my life, like you said, and I focus absolutely on giving my best at every single thing that I do. But it can get a bit demanding at times, especially in this fast-paced world we operate in. And for me, therefore, that concept of balance, but maintaining my well-being, is what I absolutely strive to protect every single day, you
Mhm.
know? And then I sound like a stuck record when I say this, but I make sure that my mind, body, and soul are taken care of first. And then I can project that energy outwards. So, for me, that involves having a very rigorous daily routine, a lot of non negotiables that I set out first, ensuring I sleep well, I eat well, I train well. I get my reading in, writing, reflections, then I get my work in, as well as checking in on my mentees and, further projects and studying. So that's all what I manage in my 24 hours. But please tell us how you manage and maintain your peak performance and use your daily routine to get to where you need to be.
Great. So, in medical school, it was a bit easier to maintain that daily routine that I had set, with regular sleeping times, and waking up at a certain time, studying at a certain time, exercising at a certain time, and then going to bed. Now, having started internship, as you've seen, hours are very unpredictable, and most of the time I'm at the hospital, and stressed about which patient is going to come and harass
Yes.
me for uh, for medication, or which nurse is going to ask me to do something. But I do try and have some sort of structure in my day, and every day I try and ensure that I at least done one new thing. Um, when I say one new thing, there's something meaningful, something that doesn't have to be necessarily medicine related, but something that I find interesting, that I'd like to know about, that I can impart to someone else. And learning is a very big part of my lifestyle. So I'm always trying to continually improve myself, and there is never a limit to self-improvement. I've also recently started meditating, because, with all the distraction around, and especially with social media and the negative impact it has, it's very easy to get dulled into a sense of insecurity, and to have your self-esteem destroyed. And so I noticed that, although it wasn't affecting me consciously, subconsciously I was feeling, there's a bit of negativity.
Right.
So I've sort of, distanced myself from social media and started focusing on myself, because, as you say, the mind, body, and soul has got to be in alignment. And if you as an individual are not aligned, then how can you expect other people to see you for what you are?
100%. 100%.
So self-improvement is a very big part of me, and interacting with wholesome people is what I try to do on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. It's like you filter for quality in every single aspect of your life,
Yes, yeah.
and in this moment, how do you handle then rapid change? Because to give our viewers some insight, as a medical intern, your days are never the same. There's a new problem every day, and as is expected, as a doctor in the medical profession, you're never going to have the same patient with the same ailments coming in every hour. It's going to be something different, something to challenge you and throw you off your toes. So, and as we've seen in this life now, in the past 3 years have been chaotic with COVID, lockdowns, the flooding and disasters, and a lot of other global pandemics that's been going on. How do you keep yourself grounded and deal with these rapidly changing times and yeah, constant disruption? How do you keep yourself centered and not, lose your focus?
So I think change is not something to be afraid of. Change is something that we should all embrace, as cliche as it sounds. But I found that my greatest personal growth has come through periods of change, and in times that I didn't plan or wasn't expecting. With that being said, change can still be scary. And in those times, I find being centered and having a good support structure with my friends and family keeps me grounded. Because I know that with the friends and family that I have, that they are constant, and that they can always be relied on. But in the case of change, like, I just take it as it comes. I obviously, I'm not going to know everything that happens in life, but I'll try my best. I do try my best to adapt, and to learn how to live with whatever that change is. Especially with COVID, and we're dealing with uncertainties. Life is unpredictable, but the greatest fun comes from those moments of unpredictability.
That's right. That's right. That's right. It's like being spontaneous, breaking the routine a bit, and just going for what you believe in, and riding the wave of chaos in a way.
Exactly.
That's something that I also try and teach people. It's, having that fixed mindset and looking for that stability can sometimes be a bit, it can be crippling, especially in a time when things are always changing. If you're standing still, you may not be adapting and growing. And at the same time, if you have this fixed mindset and this change and you resist it, it can cause a lot of stress, especially in the finance profession. I see a lot of finance professionals, they like something that's stable and secure, but in an ever-changing business landscape as well, you're always on your toes. There's a new problem and a new task that comes up. And just being, like you said, being agile, being able to roll with the punches and deal with things as they come along is an essential skill. So much so that, what I do is, I tell myself every single morning when I wake up, I meditate. Like you said, it's a brilliant habit that you practice. I just clear my thoughts, focus my energy on the day, sort of run through the day in my mind and what tasks I need to get done. And I just tell myself as well every single day, take it as it comes. Just deal with it as it comes, especially with work. Just deal with things as and when they come up. And that way, when you do have a major deadline or you have some sort of urgent request, then all you do is you take it in your stride. Instead of dreading it or anticipating it and building up anxiety and tension, I just take it in my stride. And then from there, you're able to logically follow a few steps to get that task done and get it complete.
No, definitely. And another thing, Kamini, that I'm sure you may have also experienced with either yourself or through your friends, and I'm guilty of it myself, is that, given our backgrounds and our ambitions, we're always trying to move towards the next big thing.
100%.
We're always set on the future and trying to get towards that point, at which point we think all our stresses and desires will all our stresses will dissolve and our desires will be met, and everything will be perfect and we'll have reset. But the thing is that in that moment, you're missing out on life. And it's sad because I was like that, and unfortunately I'm no longer like that. But I still have one of my friends, my colleagues, who are just waiting for this part of their life to be finished so they can go on to the next. But the truth of the matter is that there is never going to be a point in your life where you're 100% happy unless you make yourself happy in the present. Because what's in the future is never guaranteed. But what's in the past can never be relived. The only time that you have to effect change is in the present. You understand what I'm saying?
100%. That's so well said.
So I've learned now to, embrace the present, and that includes the change that comes with the present, because that is your life. And if you are miserable for 90% of the day, that means that most of your life, you're just waiting for something else. And what's the point? That you worked hard to be at the point that you are currently. When we were in Ethel Heights, we were dying to get into Universal Boys. Once you're in Universal Boys, you were dying to get out into university. And then once you're in uni, you're waiting to get out into the big wide world. And now that we're working qualified professionals, it's like, what next now,
Yes.
We still have the goals to grow. I'm not saying don't have goals to grow and to develop yourself, but enjoy the present. And that's something that I've learned, because it's so easy to become bogged down by the negativity of others.
No, you're 100% right. I mean, that was so beautifully said as well. The way I see it is there's two certainties. We were born, right? So that's already happened. And at some point, we all are going to leave this earth in death. We all will, right? But it's the journey of life. It's how you get from the next step. It's the journey. And like you said, being present on that journey is what makes your life memorable. Because, and as you said, it's the shifting goalpost mentality. You get to one point and then you say, okay, no, I'll be happier and content if I get to the next point. But if you live that life, you're just going to go and wish your life away to the point where you're on your deathbed and you look back and say, okay, I just chased and blitzed through everything. And now I'm at the end already. And did I really enjoy everything? And, that's when people start living with regret. And I'm glad you realize that, because it's something I emphasize a lot. It's being present in the moment, because you said it so well. The past, you can't undo the past. The future is a function of your actions in the present,
Exactly,
the controllable parts. There's a lot of the future that we can't control. It's out of our hands. But the choices that we presented with each day, what you do in those choices determines where you are next. So instead of, like you say, anticipating the future, focus on the day and giving the day 100% best effort, living and enjoying every moment of it. I mean, for me, it's living with integrity and just full effort every single day. Because then if you give every single day your best and you're happy in the process, you're loving why you're doing, and you understand that you have to love what you do, then as the days and months go on, you'll just love the journey. That the destination, you won't be looking for that destination, because you're in love with the process. And that honestly is the secret to attaining like a lasting happiness, because otherwise your soul isn't settled, right? You're always restless. And if you can't be at peace in the moment, in your own thoughts and just where you are, will you ever be happy? And and look around. There's so many people who've got massive material wealth, but they still have these mental health issues. They still struggle from depression. They still struggle from loneliness, right? So, I mean, we've seen, and history and time has shown that money will never bring you that happiness. It's being content and happy with who you are as a person. That self-mastery and self-awareness can then lead to lasting happiness. And the way I see it, everything else that follows that's material is the added bonus of life.
Exactly. And, it's so interesting that you brought up material interests, because often we attribute success to the amount of material wealth that a man or woman has. but that's not the case. And I've learned that as well now at my ripe old age of 24, 23, 24. Still young, but I mean, I've learned it, quite early on in the game. Because I was also like, to an extent, I also valued material wealth quite highly, but it's not the be all and end all. And the value of solid, wholesome relationships with friends and family, being happy with who you are, being honest to yourself, and having the ability to trust yourself is worth far more than any material wealth that you can acquire. Because material wealth can come and go. Material wealth it will be taken away from you, and then who are you? You're just the person that you are to yourself. You have to rely on your own brand, not on wearing other people's brands. I mean, why do you go and buy Louis Vuitton or Hugo Boss? It's because the brand image that person has created. But why can't you make yourself your own brand?
Right.
So that's what I find, because I generally don't wear branded clothes or things like that, because I understand, that to an extent, by wearing branded clothing, you are trying to, well, this is at least my opinion, trying to cover up your own identity.
Right. And it's a matter of trying to first be comfortable with who you are, because if you're truly happy in your own skin, then you won't need all the flashy stuff to increase your self-worth in a way, or boost that self-esteem. Yes. Okay. That's a very valid point that you mentioned. And I'm hoping that it's, the people who are watching this, they do some introspection and just look at their life, because that's something that can help in the long run find meaning and their real happiness. Because I think that's what people are looking for nowadays, especially in an age where they overworked and they're getting burnout and they're questioning a lot of the norms. So it's more a matter of trying to figure out, are we really happy with who we are? Because
exactly.
And once you find that out, then everything else should fall into place.
Exactly. And on the point of brands, I'm not saying don't buy the brand. I'm saying don't buy it just to impress others. Buy it if you really like the brand for yourself.
Right. Yeah. Instead of, because I mean, that too is another topic, when people are trying to keep up with their neighbors, because if you look at it, South Africans are in one of the highest credit indebtedness in the world. And it's because they want to drive the flashiest cars, buy the latest clothing, money they don't have to impress people who don't actually care about, the financial choices they're making. So in essence, it does have some long-term financial impacts as well. And yeah, I'm hoping that if people listen to this and think about that, then hopefully they can alter their financial behaviors to rather focus on building some, financial and retirement planning, instead of spending their money on credit to impress people on items that lose their value really fast, especially with seasonal changes. And I mean, you're a man with with immense wisdom and experience based on all this introspection, Mr. Sahil. So I'd like to know if you have maybe 3 specific life lessons that you've learned that you'd like to share with us. What would it be?
3 specific life lessons that I've learned. Okay. I'll put you on the spot here. I would say the first is to do what makes you happy.
Right.
If it doesn't bring you joy or happiness, then there's no point in doing it. Secondly, I would say choose your circle very wisely, because they can make or break you. Thirdly, I would say just enjoy life. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, and don't feel the need to meet others' expectations. Do what you feel is going to make your life worth living. And those are my 3 lessons that I would say that I've learned and that I've practiced as much as I could have.
And it's very well said. It's spoken from the heart, and you're right. It's just keeping it simple, aligning your passions and purpose with what you believe in, and going for that. Because I think we're seeing nowadays the birth of many side hustles. People are chasing their passions as well as having a full-time job and then transitioning into that. And it is sparking the birth of entrepreneurship, something that's much needed in South Africa and around the world. for people to take charge of their own financial futures and building something sustainable, for them post-retirement. So I really like that, especially when you said chase your passions and make it happen, because we all have dreams, right? When we're young, we all have dreams, we have goals and what we want to achieve. And then somehow, once we become adults, all that just falls out the way. And then we focus on family and having kids. And then you sort of feel trapped in the pressures of life and obligations. You're working to feed your kids and your family, but
Mhm.
you mustn't lose sight of your goals and passions. And no matter what phase of life you're in, if you have a passion and you have a dream, it's never too late to go after it and chase it, because at the end of the day, you don't want to live in regret. You don't want to
Yeah.
say, what if I just tried it? What if I just followed my dreams? Where would I be? You know,
Mhm.
I think that's the scariest question to ask yourself, because you'd never know. It's wasted potential.
No, exactly. Definitely, I agree with you.
I mean,
Always take the plunge.
yeah, exactly. Rather
Yeah.
try and fail than fail to try, isn't it?
Yeah. And if you
It is.
fail, you just found one more way that doesn't work.
Exactly,
You know?
exactly. As long as whatever you're doing is legal and ethical, and you've taken a calculated risk and thought it through, then there shouldn't be a reason why you shouldn't pursue your goals and dreams.
Yeah,
Um,
legalities and ethics are very important. And once you have that stain on your name, it's very difficult to get rid of.
exactly,
Mm.
exactly. Integrity is something that people need to strive to uphold, and the highest standard of ethics, not just in their personal life but in their professional lives. And yeah, I think that is something that you know hopefully that more people can take to heart and start striving to implement.
Mhm.
Um, and I just want to say I've really enjoyed our chat. Sahil, it's been fantastic, and I really want to thank you for your time, and to all our viewers as well who have tuned into the show. We will be sure to post Sahil's social media handles. Well, his LinkedIn. I know he uses LinkedIn, and the various other ones that he does maintain, um, so that you can contact him or follow him on his journey. And if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to him. So yeah, in terms of this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. And we would hope that you continue to be inspired by our high performers that we showcase on the show. Until next time, dear viewers, cheers.